We've all received that text from that special someone that we just need to respond to, or we get a phone call from our mom asking us to pick something up from the grocery store on our way back home. Unfortunately, these texts and phone calls can be sent to us while we're driving, and being in front of a steering wheel doesn't necessarily stop us from responding. However, these texts and phone calls that we were answering and responding to while we were driving are causing massive and traumatic problems for people all across the United States. These problems include terrible car accidents and sometimes car accidents that can result in death. That's why I'm here today to discuss with you the ways that people distractedly drive, the severity of it, and how it can be prevented. So, what is distracted driving? According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, distracted driving can come in 3 different forms: visual, manual, and cognitive. Visual distracted driving is when the person takes their eyes off the road. For instance, if there's a new restaurant opening up in town, you might be driving by and you so happen to stop and stare. Manual distracted driving is when the person physically removes their hands off of the steering wheel. For instance, if you need to reach over and grab something, or maybe you need to fiddle with the radio. Lastly, cognitive distracted driving is when the person's mind is not focused on the road ahead of them. Maybe you're coming home from class, you just got a bad grade, you might be stressing over that, or you're coming home from work and you're thinking of all the material that you need to accomplish for the next day's work. All of these distractions are equally as dangerous. However, texting while driving is the most dangerous since it involves all 3 types of distractions: visual, manual, and cognitive. When a person texts, they approximately take their eyes off the road for 5 seconds. If a person is driving at a speed of 55 miles per hour, they could drive the entire length of a football field with their eyes closed. The NHTSA claims that distracted driving can be composed of anything that averts the driver's eyes or attention from the main road. On occasions of running late, we may end up fixing our hair or putting our makeup on in the car. Little do we know that this can cause us to become extremely distracted and increase our chance of getting into a car accident. They also state that even talking to passengers in your car can cause extreme distractions. Research claims that it is almost impossible to drive safely unless your full attention and concentration is on the road ahead of you. Now that we understand what distracted driving truly is and what it can consist of, let's discuss the statistics behind it. DMV.org mentions that every day during daylight hours, 660,000 people are on their phone while they're driving. That's more than 500,000 people, increasing their chances of getting into a car accident. Nationwide.com says 69% of drivers between the ages of 18 to 64 admit to talking on the phone while driving. 31% admit to texting while driving. Even more shocking, 20% of teens and 10% of parents confess to having lengthy conversations while driving through texting. Even after putting the phone down from sending that last text, the AAA Foundation claims that there is a latency period that lasts 27 seconds where the driver's mind is still unoccupied and unfocused. On the more severe and serious side of this topic, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that 9 people are killed each day to a crash that was related to distracted driving. Also, according to Nationwide.com, 16% of fatal crashes that occur because of distracted driving, and 5,000 deaths a year result in this. The AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety affirms that 90% of drivers recognize the huge risk that distracted driving can cause and claim that it is unacceptable to distractedly drive. It is obvious that the people of America don't approve of distracted driving and feel very unsafe on the road due to the severe consequences that it causes. There are many ways that distracted driving can be prevented. However, it is mostly up to the driver behind the wheel to ensure their own personal safety. Give yourself enough time to get ready before leaving so you don't have to do so in the car. Before heading on the road, make sure your Bluetooth and your radio system is all set up so you don't have to fiddle with it while you're driving. If these precautions are followed, you can make sure that you will not be distracted while driving and reach your destination safely. Now that we explored the ways that any person can avoid distracted driving, let's discuss what is being done to prevent it. Our society, as well as our federal government, have seen the devastation that distracted driving can cause. Therefore, the federal government and our society are doing everything in their power to prevent this horrific thing from occurring in the states. According to lowestpricetrafficschool.com, there have been a plethora of organizations that have been formed to raise awareness of distracted driving. More importantly, our government have taken serious precautions against distracted driving. For instance, there have been laws that have been formed that ban texting while driving. If you are found breaking this law, penalties as well as fines are given to that person. Currently, 30 states have a law that prohibits texting while driving, and each state has their own laws as well as penalties that are followed up if the person is caught breaking this law. Lastly, technology has been installed in cars to help keep the roads clear of distracted driving. Geico.com claims that automakers have installed Bluetooth connectivity packages that allow the driver to manage their phone hands-free. Vehicles also now have crash avoidance systems, so if a driver is distracted, they can avoid crashes altogether since there are automatic brakes that have been installed. At times, it almost seems inevitable to not check your phone or answer that text that you just received. However, this advice that I have shared with you is meant to inform you in the efforts to keep distractions and driving two separate things. It is important to avoid using cell phones while driving, especially using your cell phone to text. As noted, texting while driving is the biggest form of distracted driving. If these simple rules are followed that I have mentioned earlier, we can keep car accidents that at times result in death to a minimum. The data and statistics that a distracted driving related car accident is very common and can happen to anyone. Therefore, let's keep all our loved ones safe on the road by avoiding distractions while driving.